Okay, we've got the Jones and Shipman Model 524 Easy CNC surface grinding machine. Has the GE Fanuc Quick Panel Junior operator interface. Eight by 18 electromagnetic chuck. What you're seeing in the distance here is the dresser.
Yeah. All right, switch gear. You want us to get the books right away? We got the books up here, Pete. Documentation. The Fanuc drives are down low here for the access drives. Standard switch gear on the side here. This is the magnetic chuck control sitting under the books. It's a Walker chuck control that handles the chuck. Like I said, books, documentation, schematics are in here. It is wired 480 volts presently. It's got its own correction transformer here, so that's not a problem. Coming around this side here, again, like I said, the transformer, vertical servo drive down there. It's the other plug-in for the coolant system, which is right ahead over here.
Let's point to that coolant system.
Yeah, that's coming up. There's the switchgear panel, all your standard motor starters, PLC logic, and all your fuse panel here, transformer. That's all good. Coolant system's over on this side here. You just kind of stay there. You got the pump system in the back here with the paper filtration. Kind of come over here a little bit. There's the paper. Pull-out box. Sight level. There's the plug-in for it up here, so that just interfaces right up, not a problem. That all goes together. And back to the machine, we can do a couple things on the panel maybe. Get a better look at the chuck here with the guard off, splash guard. Manual, of course, on the table. And we do have the pulse coders here in the manual mode. If I can bring the control up first, I don't even have it on, I just noticed. Control on. This will bring up the hydraulics. Screenshot. This is basically our program that we're running right now. We're starting it at 1.497. We're going to go in 0.5 increments down to 4955, and then we go into our fine feed at 2/10 increments down to 4950. I've turned spark out off just to shorten up the overall cycle time. Takes a couple minutes. We're going to run through this, and while we're doing this, we'll interrupt the cycle a couple times and do a dress cycle. We'll be playing with just these guys here. On this side here, just to show a few screens, this thing does have a link system, which is kind of nice. We are only using program 2 to program 2, which means we're only running this program, but you can run multitude of programs in succession and tell which one to start at, which one to stop at, which is kind of nice. And these are just some of the screens to show you how to set this up, how to set up my numbers for what I'm doing here. I'm traversing. I've got all my numbers set into these screens here. This is the one we're doing now. And this is, Y-axis. It shows our current numbers here from Y, which is vertical on this machine. Z is in feed. And just to pull out of here, what else we got here? These are the numbers. We've got an alarm, a little alarm screen here, and that'll be wheel spindle not running, cycle start inhibited. What else? And if I go into manual, I think I can get the other screen. Here's manual mode that shows the type of traverse we can go in with. If you hit these 4 here, see, we're just traversing back and forth, incrementing in. You can do a zigzag, diagonal, straight line with the ZX, straight line with the table, or what we're doing, traversing over. Next page, DZ, that's my incremental distance for how far I'm going to, after each traverse of the table, I'm moving 0.250. So you'll see this whole table bump a 1/4 inch. I raised it up a lot just so you can see what's happening. So we'll be moving a 1/4 inch at a time through a distance of about 4 inches. And that's my Z, that's my Y, and that's my rate of feed. So that's what all these are for. You just set the wheel width, you set the distance, you set your height, you set everything up. It's all touchscreen, and we're good to go. So same thing here. There's my feed. There's my width of my wheel, Z1 to Z2. You give the width of the wheel. We're about 3/4 of an inch. My feed is 10 inches per minute, I believe, and that's all set. Now I'm going to go over to the linked mode, which lets me run a full auto cycle. Oh, before I do that, we should do some manual stuff. Here's the pulse coder for Y, plus minus. It's got the 3 increments, small, heavy, very large, or greater distance. And you watch it. I'm going to dial this up, and you'll see the Y go up and down. That's how that works. Same thing on this one here. Here's the Z in feed. I'll put it full up, the most. And just moves right along. And it doesn't matter where you leave these. When we shoot over to auto cycle, I'm going to leave these anywhere. And as soon as I hit auto cycle, it finds its home first and then takes off from there. This has to be out. And again, there's our dresser. We're going to hit the dresser halfway through the cycle. We'll hit it a couple times. So right now, I'm going to go over to linked, just so I can run the auto cycle, even though we're only running one program. Start the spindle first. Or actually, you can show the table here before we start the spindle. It's still quiet. Here's the table. And I can increment it off of here. If I plus it a few times, it's a hydraulic amplifier. It's a little bit quicker. Or if I slow it down, that's a touch slower. So that's about it there. And then again, now you said this is coolant on this side in the middle, spindle, and dust collector, which we don't currently have hooked up. Oh, and electromagnetic chuck. I got it on or full off. And that's on right now. I don't even know, I don't think it'll let us run without it. So I'm going to fire up spindle now. We're just going to listen to that for a minute, and then we'll jump into an auto cycle, which is right now, I'm just going to hit it. There's spindle on. So now it'll let me run an auto cycle right now. So I'm just going to come over here and hit cycle start, Pete, and it's going to find itself and then start the cycle. Once the cycle starts, we'll jump out and do one cycle interrupt and maybe a couple of grinds on the wheel here. Face off. Cycle start. Rapids in. And right now, we started at that 497. We're traversing about a 1/4 inch. There's my 250, if you can see it. Now I can slow that down too. Watch this. Rate of increase, that's pretty slow now, see? And when we go back the other way, I'm going to speed it up. Now we're going that way. I'm going to kick it up now. This is at 50% right here. 60, 70. See, it gets pretty quick if you want it. There's 100. So I'm going to leave that there. And we're down to 496. We're shooting for 495. Now we're down to 4955. Let's hit it right now. Let's hit cycle interrupt. And what this is good for is it'll just sit right there. I can shoot over to manual now, change my offsets, do whatever I want to do, and then jump right back to the auto cycle, which is what I'm going to do now. And it'll wrap it right back in. It picks up the program right from where it was at. We haven't lost the program at all. And we're right back to 4950. Now, that said, I'm going to hit, yeah, you can see it switch over one time here probably. And as soon as we traverse all the way to the end, it's going to jump another 5/10. We'll go to 4950, which is our target number anyhow. There. Now we're going tenths. Yeah, we're going 2/10 or 3/10 at a time, I think. So that's it. Pull back a little bit. We've only got 2 more tenths, and the cycle will be finished. Pull back, and I'm going to hit dress over here, and then kind of watch what happens with the table here when I hit this. That's going to wrap it up. Now we're still in mid-program. Shoots over. I got it missing by about 1 inch or 2, just so we don't crash it. We're simulating a dress cycle here. I think I've got, what, 2 passes, maybe? 1, 2. Go back. So go find the program again. This is pretty good. Just going to wrap it in. I'm just going to pick it up right where I was at before. That's it. We're at the end of cycle right there. We caught it just before it finished off cycle. Can I do one more? Or?
Sure.
Yeah. You're on it now.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit cycle start.
Yeah, I got it there. I'm trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a lot of light here. It's hard. It's plastic. We're coming in. It's going to wrap it down. Y comes down. Now your Z change. Z's changing about 250 each crack. We're at 4965. Our next increment will be 1,000. We'll jump to 4960, I believe. Right there. There it is. Now we're going back the other way with the table. I'll do one more dress cycle here. I'm going to hit this. I'm just going to shoot over again. Over there. Again, we're in mid-program, mid-cycle. We'll let this finish dressing and then let it finish off its cycle. We got another 5/10 to go. While we're at it, I could probably slow this down a little bit like I did before on the table. Just slow this down. Here, you'll see the noticeable difference. See that? Nice easy grind. Same cycle, same program, everything's just moving a lot slower now. And while you're on it, I'm going to speed it up. I'm hitting the plus now. I'm just going to increment it 4 or 5 times. You'll see it pick up. There we go. That's directly related to cycle time, but of course it's all process, how fast we want to go. We're down to 952. This is our last pass. There's no spark out. It's going to finish off. On this next pass, we'll hit 0, and it's going to will park itself. There's 0. It's going to come across now. This is the last pass. And as soon as it finishes coming all the way over to the 4 inches, it'll park. That's it. End of story, Pete.